lock the mould into a press and submerge it in a high-pressure curing unit for 25 minutes. Then they cool the mould in cold water. This is the original impression compared to the acrylic model they've just cast. This model is called the fitting shape because they use it to fit and mark the positioning of the fake iris. They accentuate the markings, then attach a peg with a drop of wax. The peg indicates the natural angle of the iris when the patient is looking forward. Next, they add wax around the perimeter to enlarge the fitting shape. This excess will give the ocularist some play afterwards for the final sizing. Now they take this marked and enlarged fitting shape and make a plaster mould. Later, they'll use that mould to cast the actual artificial eye. But first, they have to make the iris. They take a curved black acrylic disc and paint it as realistically as possible with high-quality artist oils. The patient has to be present so they can match the real eye. Next, they glue an acrylic cornea with an appropriate sized pupil onto the painted iris. At this point, the artificial iris is 13 millimeters in diameter. If the patient's real iris is smaller, they trim down the replica to match. The iris then goes into the plaster mould, covered with white acrylic dough. After the same high-pressure curing process as before, out comes the artificial eye, covered with excess white acrylic. They trim off that excess and the peg, using a grinding tool and a cutter. This refines the shape and exposes the iris buried beneath. They smooth the surface against a grinding stone and verify the measurements. Then, using hard colouring pencils, they add finishing touches to the iris and draw blood vessels. They label the eye with the patient's initials, then apply an acrylic coating to seal the pencil marks. To create veins with some dimension, technicians use the same acrylic coating to stick on some delicate silk threads. Once satisfied the artificial eye is a perfect match, they seal the artwork with another acrylic coating. Once that cures, they polish the eye to a shine with a cotton wheel. The shapes and colours of artificial eyes are endless, because patients' eye sockets and irises greatly vary, as does the white of the eye. This artificial eye, or ocular prosthesis, is ready. The final step is to ensure perfect. The patient's ocular muscles attach to the implant, enabling his artificial eye to move in unison with his real eye. Coming up in How It's Made. Dog and cat food. No more gagging at feeding time. And mirrors, where image is everything. See you after the break. Welcome back to How It's Made. Later we look at mirrors, where image is everything. But first, feeding time for the house pet used to be a case of gagging for both parties in question. Today, pet food is the stuff of sophisticated nutritional science. It's about protein, carbohydrates, vitamins and minerals, a well-balanced diet. Perhaps their owners should take note. The formulas for dog and cat food differ because dogs and cats have different nutritional requirements. Cats, for instance, need more fat and protein in their diet than dogs do. But the basic ingredients that factories grind up to make dog and cat food are generally similar. First, corn kernels. Then cereals such as barley, wheat and rice. Workers weigh the ingredients, grind them in a mill, then combine everything in a mixer until they have an even and well-blended powder. A machine called the extruder transforms that powder into bite-sized pieces of pet food. It steam cooks the mixture, then forces it through dies at high pressure. The dies shape it the way the tip of a pastry bag shapes icing into swirls or roses. As the continuous stream of shaped mixture exits the die, the spinning knife cuts it into pieces. Different dies produce different shapes. Next stop is a hot air dryer for 25 minutes. It heats the pieces to 149 degrees Celsius to draw out the moisture, then cools them at room temperature. Once the pieces exit the dryer, they enter a revolving drum where they're sprayed with fat and flavouring. The fat is designed to add food energy, while the flavouring gives the bland pieces an appetising odour and taste. The rotation ensures the pieces get coated evenly. From here, the pieces go into storage silos. When they leave the silos for bagging, the machinery screens out any crumbs.